Hey everyone, it's Rebecca, and I'm going to be filming a sort of different kind of video today. I'm going to be doing a book review, which I just filmed a video on the review of the Sigma Premium, First Impressions of my Sigma Premium, you know what I mean, Premium Kit, whatever. And I was just about to sit down and read this when this came in the mail, so had to do that first. But so I'm a bookworm. I'm gonna be straight up and honest. I'm obsessed with books. I love reading. I enjoy it. Like, some people are just like, oh, I hate reading. I have to sit down and read. It's so annoying. I'm not like that. I enjoy every minute of it, unless it's a sucky book, which who wants to read a sucky book, right? So the novel that I'm gonna be reviewing, I'm in love with this book. Okay, it's like one of my favorites, and it's Divergent by Veronica Roth. So this is pretty new. It came out on May 3rd of this year. And it has 39 chapters and 487 pages. So it's kind of, a long book to be a YA book. It's a YA book. And it's a dystopian novel, which I love dystopian novels because it usually has adventure, action, futuristic, whatever setting, a messed up government, which I love to read about, and romance and good characters. So usually, sorry, I'm kind of sick, but so I'm obsessed with this book. I'm not gonna read the synopsis or whatever, you know what I mean, this thing on the front of the book, because that'll just take too long, and this review is probably gonna be pretty long. So let's get into it. So basically, this book is about a girl named Beatrice Prior. I almost said Beatrice Lestrange. No, Beatrice Prior. I think that's the last name. I'm not really sure how to say Beatrice, but whatever. And she lives in a world, Chicago, and it's a dystopian world, so it's like in the future, and where there's 5 factions, and each faction sort of values a different trait or lifestyle or whatever. And so the 5 factions are Candor, which is the honest, Abnegation, is that how I say? Abnegation, which is the selfless, Erudite, which is the intelligent, Dauntless, which is the brave, and Amity, which is the peaceful. So basically, each faction kind of thinks that, because they, like, the end of the world happened, or like just the worst or whatever, and each faction thinks that it was for a different reason. Like, Dauntless thinks because everyone was just a coward, Erudite thinks because they were just not well educated, whatever. So basically, a faction is like your community. The thing that's often repeated in this book is faction before blood, which is how the people in this book, the setting, whatever, how they see it. Like, faction is before your blood. They don't care about your family. Once you give yourself to a faction, you have to stick with that faction, and if you betray it, you're dead, basically. So, on an appointed day, and every year, the 16-year-olds, of obviously their different group every year, they take something called the aptitude test, which is something that's basically supposed to tell you which faction you're best cut up for, I guess. And the aptitude test is a simulation in your mind, which a set of obstacles is given out to you, and they're the same for everyone, and you always have two choices, and depending on those, you're going to go to the next obstacle, which is going to be different depending on what choice you choose. And at the end of that, they're supposed to tell you, okay, you're supposed to go in Abnegation, you're supposed to go in Amity, and I don't think you have to choose the ones they tell you. It's just sort of like a guide. And so what happens to Beatrice is actually what happens. Oh, okay. So this review is going to contain spoilers. I'm sorry. I'm so obsessed with this book. I can't just hold them all in. So if you don't like to hear spoilers before you read it, you might not want to watch this video. But what was I saying? Right. So basically, Beatrice is classified as divergent, which is something where basically you can belong to more than one faction. So she can belong to either Abnegation, which is the faction she was born into, Dauntless, or Erudite. And basically, when she gets that result, she was like, okay, like, what's that supposed to mean? And the person who was giving her the aptitude test is just like, okay, you can't tell anyone. This is really dangerous. If you tell anyone, whatever, you can't tell anyone, or else, like, you're just a really dangerous person right now. And she was just like, what? Like, no one would tell her anything, and she couldn't tell her family or anything. So, yeah, on the day of the choosing, she chooses to become Dauntless, which is the brave, and everyone is kind of upset in her faction because when someone transfers from one faction to another, there's kind of a little rivalry between the two factions. And so she transfers to the Dauntless, so basically the book is about the initiation, which the initiation is the initiates, I guess, becoming members. So it's kind of like a series of tests. For Dauntless, it's kind of different though, because there's 3 stages to the initiation. There's physical, emotional, and mental. And they're all supposed to test your bravery and show how brave and what a good a member you'll become. But here's the catch. There's 20 initiates, 11 Dauntless born, and 9 I guess transfers from other factions. And only 10 of them can become members. The others will be cut and become factionless, which factionless is basically what everyone is scared of the most, because factionless, that's like not belonging to anything. Those are like the homeless people who don't belong anywhere, have no family, have nothing basically, and live on the streets. So no one wants to become factionless, so everyone's like, hey, we have to become members. So yeah. So that's basically the plot of the book, I guess. And to be perfectly honest, when I started reading this book, I read like a preview of it, I guess, online. It was like 100 pages. And I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Because my dad showed it to me, because I read The Hunger Games and I got him to read it, and he actually really liked it. And he was like, I heard that this book is kind of like it. So I wasn't too into it. I was like, it's pretty good. I just, can't really get into it. I guess I'll buy the book just to see how it's like. But then when I think at the point where Beatrice, she has to fight someone, I think after that point, is where I really started getting into the book. I was like, oh my gosh, what happens next? What happens next? It was a page turner. You guys, I'm not kidding you. I was up until like 3 in the morning today, and I had school today just to read this book, and I didn't even finish it. I woke up at usually I wake up at like 6, and I woke up at 6. So I could have finished the last 3 chapters, and I finished it, so I'm really happy, but I'm kind of upset because the next book doesn't come out for a year, but, and then I went back to sleep because I had a migraine. So yeah, that just shows how much I love this book. So this book I think is really well planned out and kind of paced, because there's sort of some foreshadowing and stuff, and it's really fast-paced. I like fast-paced novels. I don't like it when it kind of just drags on. You're like, okay, what's the point of this? But yeah, and like I was saying before, this novel kind of incorporates all of my favorite things. So there's definitely action, more towards the end of the book, but obviously since she's in the Dauntless, which they value bravery, obviously there's going to be some action. So basically there's like fights, like they have to shoot guns at people and all that kind of stuff. It's just really kind of intense. And one of the things kind of scared me. I'm not going to say what happens, but this is going to have a few spoilers, but basically her rival is Peter, which like they hate each other. Okay, that's a tree. Which they like hate each other so much. But he does something to someone else, which is kind of scary. But I'm not gonna get into that right now, which I know that's random. But so yeah, there's a lot of action, more so towards the end of the book, where basically she finds out that kind of the reason for the factions, and she basically kind of fights against it. Which I'm not going to get into the reason right now. But so, then there's romance, which I love the romance in this novel, because I don't like it when a novel is purely centered around romance. I like it when there's action and then there's romance incorporated into it, because it makes it, I think, so much more powerful, because it's like risking your life or whatever. But, so the romance, if you guys haven't exited out of the video and you don't want to know who the person is, exit out right now. So the person she falls in love with in this book is Four. And Four is, he's like her leader. Like, I guess, the trainer of the people. There's Four and there's Eric. And Eric's just kind of scary and ruthless. But Four is amazing. Like, his actual name, I'm not going to say that, but he has a different name, but Four is obviously a nickname. But he's intelligent, but he's kind of moody. Like, sometimes he's like super nice, and sometimes he's just kind of strict, and sometimes he's just weird, but he's amazing. Like, he's one of my favorite characters. Well, he actually probably is my favorite character in this book. I think I like him more than Tris, sorry, but, so yeah, I really like the romance in this novel because, it's well paced. Like for the romance in this novel is well paced. For the first, I think, like quarter of the book, you don't even really know that there's going to be any romance. But I just feel like it's really sincere, and it's just sort of slowly starts happening. It's not just like bang, they're in love, which I hate it when that happens. But so yeah, that's the romance, and I really like Trist. She's a really strong female character. She's really strong emotionally, not only physically. Well, she's not really strong physically at the beginning of the book, because she's kind of short. But not saying that short people can't be strong. And she's really brave, and like she's realistic, and it's just showing that like everyone has fears in this book, because at the end, my dad just came home. One of the, I guess, steps is that they take your fears and you have to face them in a simulation. And that's really scary, and I really like her fears, because, like, she's scared of, like, being helpless and, some other stuff we're not going to get into. But, I just really like how she's a really believable character, and I really found it easy to connect to her. Yeah. And Eric's just kind of brutal, and then her friends are Christina and Al and Will. And Christina and Will, at the end of the book, they kind of had a little thing going on. And Al, well, I'm not going to say what happens, but he kind of betrays her, sort of. I'm not going to tell you how, but, yeah, I'm just kind of all over the place with this book. I like this book so much. I definitely recommend that you go read it if you haven't already. It's pretty new. You can get it everywhere. I think you can only get it in a hard copy right now. But yeah, there's just so much to say about this book, and I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to give too many things away. But there's a lot of like foreshadowing, and I love foreshadowing when it's well done. And yeah. So thanks for watching, and I know I probably missed a lot of things in this, but I don't want to make it too long. Okay.